This evening, government commences engagement with Tucville's Big Yard residents. Elderly man found guilty of sodomy of a minor. Custodial sentences for cannabis possession of 30 grams or less abolished. In the region, Colombia, former leader calls for decriminalization of all drugs, and internationally, Ghana race to secure IMF bailouts as economy falters. Welcome to another broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Updates. I am Baby Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. Residents of Tucville's Big Yard who had applied for house lots were on Tuesday given the option of selecting land or turnkey homes as part of the government's efforts to improve their living conditions. Some 27 families who were displaced following a fire in Tiger Bay several years ago are currently residing in that area. Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell, during a visit to the area, assured residents that the government remains true to its commitment to better the lives of all Guyanese. He reiterated that residents were placed in the area temporarily with plans to relocate them to more permanent communities at a later date. During a walkabout last Wednesday in the community, residents raised concerns with President Dr. Irfan Ali about their desire to live in a better environment. The president listened to the concerns and tasked Minister Crowell with engaging with the residents. Minister Crowell on Tuesday noted that the National Housing Initiative strives to guarantee that every person has access to adequate, safe, and affordable housing. He added that every effort would be made to meet each resident's specific needs and engage them accordingly. Minister Crowell also recalled the numerous initiatives put in place to guarantee persons could obtain financing to construct or pay for their homes. Chief Executive Officer of the Central Housing and Planning Authority, Sherwin Greaves, noted that the ultimate goal is for residents to be relocated and for the process to be conducted promptly. 61-year-old Lalio Jaglio was sentenced to 15 years imprisonment for repeatedly sodomizing a 15-year-old boy in 2019 when he appeared at the Saudi High Court in Wednesday, November 9, 2022. Jaglio of Devonshire Castle, Essequibo Coast, appeared virtually from prison before Justice Joanne Barlow, where the charge was read to him. Justice Barlow sentenced Jaglio to serve 13 years on the first count, 13 years on the second count, and 15 years on the third count. However, the sentences will run concurrently and Jaglio will only serve 15 years in prison. Last month, a 12-member jury found Jaglio guilty of 3 counts of rape of a child under the age of 16. The court heard that between September and October 2019, Jaglio engaged in sexual penetration with the 15-year-old boy at Lima Sands Back Dam. During the sentencing, Justice Barlow said that she considered the psychological trauma the incident had caused the victim. She also considered that Jaglio breached the victim's trust while the youth worked with him on weekends and holidays to earn an extra income for his family. Justice Barlow also ordered that Jaglio undergoes counseling for sex offenders while in prison. Stick around after the break. Custodial sentences for cannabis possession of 30 grams or less abolished, and a Craig man found in possession of stolen car from a Gov't body workshop.
Give your home or office some shine. Fortune Investment Company. We provide reliable commercial and residential professional cleaning services in Guyana. We clean homes and commercial offices. Other services offered are floor care and tile polishing, interior auto detailing services, power washing, weeding and cleaning, and carpet, couch, and mattress cleaning. We are committed to keeping your homes and offices squeaky clean. Call us now at 592-689-7558 or 592-639-6365 or visit us at 3430 Jackson North Rumville, Georgetown, Guyana. Fortune Investment Company. When we say clean, we mean spotless.
problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Welcome back. Amendments to the Narcotics, Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Control Amendment Bill of 2021 were passed on Monday evening in the National Assembly, paving the way for the removal of custodial sentences for persons in possession of 30 grams or less of cannabis. Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandlal, who moved the bill to be read for the second time, informed the National Assembly that the amendment is a commitment made by the current administration. The Attorney General, however, made it clear that a promise was never made to decriminalize marijuana in Guyana. The legislation was first presented to the National Assembly by the Attorney General on January 28, 2021, and was forwarded to a special select committee to conduct widespread consultation. The committee comprised 3 government and 4 opposition members. Deputy Speaker Lennox Schumann commended the government for tabling the piece of legislation and expressed full support for the amendments. The Narcotics, Drug and Psychotropic Substance Control Amendment Bill was also supported by the Minister of Home Affairs Rubison Ben and Minister of Culture, Youth and Sports Charles Ramson Jr. Although custodial sentences will be removed, persons found with 1 to 15 grams of cannabis will be required to undergo mandatory counseling. Meanwhile, persons found with 1 to 3 grams of cannabis will be subjected to the community service under the Extramural Work Act for a period not exceeding 6 months. The act will see an offender who breaches the mandatory counseling and community service paying a fine of $250,000. The amendments intend to reduce recidivism, prison overcrowding, and the burden on the criminal justice system, save state funds, and ultimately rebuild lives, families, and communities affected and disadvantaged by the finding and incarceration of persons, especially youths, for the possession and use of small amounts of cannabis. This forms part of the government's commitment to reducing the overcrowding of prisons through alternative sentences for offenders. Police in Regional Division 4B is investigating an alleged simple larceny on a 41-year-old auto body work repairman, Rameshwar Dihali of Grove Squatting Area, East Bank, Demerara. The ranks have since arrested 22-year-old Christopher Prasad of Craig, East Coast, Demerara, who was in possession of the keys and vehicle stolen from the body workshop in Grove. Investigations revealed that on Tuesday, Anissa Yusuf took her vehicle, a grey Primo motorcar PSS 6964, to Rameshwar Dihali at Lot 6, Tank Road, Grove, East Bank, Demerara, for him to spray the back bumper. Dihali parked the car in his yard at the body workshop and left to return the following day to commence work on the vehicle. He left the security Elon, the only name given on duty. When Dihali returned on Wednesday around 8 a.m., he discovered the motorcar missing along with its keys and several other keys for other vehicles. The security guard, Elon, was also nowhere around. According to Dihali, he immediately tried to contact Elon via cell phone to inquire from him if he had removed the vehicle, but to no avail. He contacted Anissa Yusuf to inquire if she had collected her vehicle, but she replied in the negative. They immediately started to search for the vehicle. Based on information received, the bodywork man went to 2nd Street Craig, East Bank, Demerara, where he saw the car. 3 males were standing within close proximity of the car. Enquiries disclosed that the 22-year-old Prasad was the driver. Dihali carried out a search on Prasad, during which he found the car keys along with other car keys mentioned in his pants pocket. Dihali immediately summoned the police, who responded and arrested Prasad. He was escorted to the Grove police station along with the vehicle. Prasad was placed in custody and the vehicle was launched. Efforts are being made to contact Elon. Statements were taken and investigations are in progress. Don't go away after the break. Colombia. Former leaders call for decriminalization of all drugs, and Ghana race to secure IMF bailout as economy falters.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop, be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Give your home or office some shine. Fortune Investment Company. We provide reliable commercial and residential professional cleaning services in Guyana. We clean homes and commercial offices. Other services offered are floor care and tile polishing, interior auto detailing services, power washing, weeding and cleaning, and carpet, couch, and mattress cleaning. We are committed to keeping your homes and offices squeaky clean. Call us now at 592-689-7558 or 592-639-6365 or visit us at 3430 Jackson North Rumville, Georgetown, Guyana. Fortune Investment Company. When we say clean, we mean spotless.
Hey, this is your fancy vehicle and door is your house?
Yes, this is my vehicle and actually I'm waiting on my land. I'm actually renting this house for $50,000.
$50,000? You head boy, you crazy, you mad, you head no good. Why you buy? Look, let me show you the light. Come with me.
Come on down to Fabulous Homes today. Pay $50,000 every month for 36 months or until you reach 50% of your house costs. Move in after 75% of the cost has been paid.
This is wonderful. Let's go. Sign me up.
Alright, let me go and dash you your landlord.
To explore our home ownership program, check our Facebook page for more information or come down to our office at Avalon Friendship.
Hey, Chinese, thanks, man. Thanks a lot. Man.
You got through?
Yes.
Call us at 227-1380 or 615-8740. Fabulous Homes International Realty, changing tenants into homeowners.
At Fabulous Homes, we bring your dreams to life.
Welcome back. Now let's take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. Colombia is the world's largest cocaine producer, now a global commission on drug policy, which includes the former presidents of Colombia and Mexico, says it is time to change what it calls a failed strategy worldwide. Al Jazeera's Alessandro Rampietti reports.
Production of cocaine, marijuana and synthetic drugs is at an all-time high despite decades of military efforts and billions of dollars spent to stop the trade. Now a global commission on drugs, which includes the former presidents of Colombia and Mexico, say it's time to change what it calls a failed strategy worldwide. The report focuses on Colombia, the biggest cocaine producer in the world, and calls for the legal regulation of all drug production and consumption.
Colombia has been the country that has paid the highest cost in the war on drugs that was declared by the world, by the United Nations more than 50 years ago. We have tried every single measure by the book with many resources, many lives sacrificed, and we still have this problem. We still are the #1 exporter of cocaine to the world markets.
The report calls for ending the criminalization and incarceration of people who use drugs and poor farmers who make a living growing coca leaves, and regulating drug markets to put governments in control and raise revenue. Something the former president clearly understood when he was Colombia's defense minister in the mid-2000s.
I was the one who sprayed more and who eradicated more. And that's when I was convinced that it was like, I call it like in a static bicycle. You pedal, you pedal, you pedal, you look to the right, you look to the left, and you're in the same position at a very high cost.
The recommendation comes at a time when the country seems open to a different conversation on drugs. Newly elected President Gustavo Petro is spearheading a regional effort to change drug policy. Drug production and trafficking has fueled Colombia's deadly civil conflicts for decades.
I demand from here, from my wounded Latin America, to end the irrational war on drugs, end the war on drugs and allow our people to live in peace.
A regional approach that the Commission hopes it will be recognized globally.
Now we have the evidence that that conceptual questioning of the war on drugs is true. So that is why I think the time has come, actually a long time ago, to change radically this approach.
Change is never easy, and nobody can underestimate the complications that legalization would bring, especially in consuming countries. But these former presidents say it would be insane to continue doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Alessandro Rampietti, Al Jazeera, Bogotá.
With people becoming increasingly angry about the rising cost of living in Ghana, Parliament is set to vote on whether to sack the finance minister. It follows major protests over price of food, fuel and transport. The government has approached the International Monetary Fund for help. Al Jazeera's Ahmad Iris reports.
At Ghana's only organic chocolate factory, production is still on, but at a fraction of its capacity. Making these sweet-tasting bars these days has become a bittersweet experience.
Sales in Europe has actually dropped very significantly, so you are forced to then manage with what resources you have. Cost of production has gone so up that we actually plan our productions.
The company fares better than most here because its shareholders can access money from abroad. This food processing plant couldn't survive the crisis. Its machines are gone, and the building itself is up for sale, if a buyer can be found.
It was mainly to preserve the perishables, the raw materials, and also to give employment and to give ready market to the farmers.
Ghana's economic crisis is the worst in generations, pushing many people into poverty.
It's in markets like these where Ghana's economic crisis is felt the most. While people's purchasing power has eroded because of the depreciation of the local currency, food prices have tripled since the beginning of the year. Fuel costs have doubled, and because of that, the cost of transportation has gone up.
Prices of food keep increasing, making it harder for families to feed.
Economists blame this on excessive government borrowing without investing in areas of growth, and that officials aren't responding well to the situation.
Any action that says, I'm ready to face my problems, I'm ready to fix it, I'm ready to make a U-turn from the irresponsibility of the past, what will it do? It will restore confidence.
So, Ghana's opposition is demanding the sacking of the finance minister.
My biggest concern is I don't see any relief in sight. I don't see any hope ahead of me. I don't have faith. I don't have trust in Nana Addo Dankwa.
The government has turned to the International Monetary Fund for help and insists sacking the finance minister in the middle of negotiations will be a mistake.
We expect also to have a staff level agreement with them before the end of the year, so that from next year we can start fully embracing the fund program.
Ghana's economic plight is made worse by a weak production base as existing manufacturers struggle to keep their machines running. Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera, Accra.
And that is it for today's regional and international news here on News 3 Weather Forecast. All for this edition of Channel 2's Headline News Update. Tune in on Friday at 5:30 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.